Hey measures, welcome to SciAmaze. This is not water and this is not a computer animation. What are you seeing is a real metal that flows like a water. Yes, of course, this is mercury, the only metal that stays liquid at room temperature. Isn't it look strange? It moves like water, but it reflects like a mirror. And this property makes mercury one of the most unusual elements in the periodic table. Strange, right? But this is just the beginning. Amazers, stay tuned. It gets even more interesting. Another special property of mercury is high density. Even a small amount of mercury feels too heavy. In fact, it is 13 times heavier than water. Not only that, it is heavier than steel and even heavier than lead. Because of this, something interesting happens. Objects that sink in water can actually float on mercury. Even a metal coin can stay on the surface. A metal floating on a liquid metal, something you almost never see in nature. Few other YouTubers already tested these experiments, like Nile, whose videos are amazing apparently. Another interesting property of mercury is it behaves differently with the temperature. When it cools down below its freezing point, it freezes into a solid. Mercury's freezing point is negative 39 degrees Celsius. That means if you freeze below negative 39 degrees Celsius, it solidifies and looks like other metals. As it warms up, it melts and becomes liquid again. But there is something important to know. Even at room temperature, mercury slowly evaporates into the air. You cannot see it, you cannot smell it, but these vapors are very dangerous. In general, we often see mercury in the various thermometers. For many years, mercury was used in the thermometers, and there were very good scientific reasons for this. First, mercury expands very evenly when it becomes warmer. This makes temperature measurement very accurate. Second thing, mercury does not stick to glass. It forms a clean and a smooth silver line that moves clearly up and down. Because of all these reasons, mercury thermometers are one of the most widely used thermometers in the world. However, nowadays they are mostly replaced by digital thermometers because mercury is toxic. But scientifically, mercury was one of the best liquids for measuring temperatures. Now the next big question, why is mercury a liquid while almost all other metals are solid? Like gold is solid, iron is solid, and copper is solid. So what is different about mercury? The answer is the way its atoms are arranged. In most metals, the atoms are held together very strongly. This strong bonding keeps the metal hard and solid. But in mercury, the atoms do not hold each other very tightly. Because of this weak bonding, the atoms can move past each other. That is why mercury stays liquid at room temperature. If you cool it enough, it does become solid, but only below negative 39 degrees Celsius, which is its freezing point. Another point to stress out, its electronic arrangement in the outer shell. Like zinc, mercury has filled outer electron configuration, which normally makes metal solid and stable. But in mercury, these outer electrons are pulled very close to nucleus, which weakens the attraction between neighboring atoms. Because the atoms cannot bond strongly with each other, mercury fails to form a solid lattice and remains liquid at room temperature. When it comes to scientific background of mercury on the periodic table, mercury is written as Hg. This comes from its scientific name hydrogen. That word comes from two Greek words. One means water and other means silver. So mercury literally means liquid silver. And when you see it, that name makes perfect sense, isn't it? Now let me discuss another important question. Why mercury is toxic? Is mercury dangerous? The answer is of course yes. But it depends upon the form. The liquid metal is not most dangerous form. It does not easily pass through the skin and it does not react strongly. However, the main danger comes from vapors. When mercury evaporates, breathing these vapors can slowly damage the brain and the nervous system. That's why mercury must always be handled in place with good ventilation. However, some mercury compounds are extremely dangerous. One of the most toxic forms is dimethyl mercury. Just a few drops can be fatal, even through protective gloves. Fortunately, this chemical is very rare and only found in special laboratories. Now I would like to tell my personal view. While my childhood, I came across Ayurvedic science where mercury can be utilized in different forms. This is the topic I would like to explore more with the help of Ayurvedic students. Anyway, that can be a different research video. But we usually come across contact with other form of mercury, which is through food chain. Mercury enters to food chain through rivers, lakes and oceans. Small organisms absorb it from water. Small fish eat those organisms, bigger fish eat the smaller fish, and step by step the amount of mercury increases. By the time we reach large fish like tuna or shark, the mercury level can become very high. That's why doctors advise not to eat large fish too often. Moving to special properties of mercury, which is making the amalgams. Mercury can mix with other metals to form alloys called amalgams. With gold, mercury can dissolve the gold into itself. This was once used to extract the gold from the rocks. With aluminum, mercury can slowly weaken the metal and damage its structure. That's why mercury is strictly banned on aeroplanes. Even a small spill could damage important parts of the aeroplanes. This can be a very good topic for my upcoming video. If you are interested to watch, comment below. This shows mercury is truly one of the most unusual elements we know. A metal flows like water, shines like a mirror, feels very heavy, and behaves differently from almost all other metals. It reminds us that periodic table is full of surprises. If you enjoyed this video, tell us in the comments which property of the mercury you would like to explore next. Especially I am interested in Ayurvedic science, how mercury is being used and its scientific significance in medicines. And also let me know which element you would like to explore next. As always, stay curious, stay safe, and keep exploring the science with SciAmaze.